Hi, Paul Hefty here. What I want to talk about today is quarterback play, and we kind of focus on a three-step process. First, fundamentals, and then we get into decision making, and then finish up with communication. With the fundamentals, step one is we're talking technical skills here. These are the specific procedures to move one's body to perform the tasks that are needed to accomplish. Again, we're going to focus on footwork. Those are the foundation of the fundamentals at the QB position. Then eye work, we've got to be consistent with our eyes and the processing of information. And then ball work, where we just work on the mechanics, both the run and the pass game. We're going to start every day with drills to develop those feet, those eyes, and the mechanics, and then use simple cue words so that our technique is consistent and efficient. Big one I like to use is slow to fast. So start slow with the movement and then speed it up once we have made our decision. We'll develop some correct habits then. So starting off, fundamentals, there's a couple parts to it. 1A, footwork, probably the most important. We want to be under control and balanced at all times. This is a good foundation. Keep your ankles apart and on your toes when you're moving. Number 2, you want to have that weight evenly distributed so that you can be an athlete. And then we want to be quick versus fast. Then we're light on our feet versus a heavy pounding piece. Ways to do that, we like to do the ladder drills. Things you want to focus with a quarterback is that the shoulders are loose, but we have strong hands on the ball so we don't lose it. Number 2, you can do a daily shotgun snap drill and pivot to throw. Again, that emphasizes that slow to fast and balanced action with the feet. And then number 3, just work your daily drops and your pocket work. Big thing we talk about with quarterbacks to keep those ankles apart with teaching is if you're climbing the pocket to actually drag that back foot, and that'll keep your ankles apart and keep you balanced. You can go to the new 2018 backfield footwork and then drills also where you can see examples of this. This is another piece here. There's tons of videos out there, but this is one that I think is great from Ohio State back in 2012 when Tom Herman was the quarterback coach in the OC. Just some great things to give you some ideas. Part 2 of fundamentals then is the eye work. What we want to do is start to develop smart eyes is what we talk about. Ways to do that, you want them to focus on a defender and see receivers, be consistent. You want to train the eyes to bracket then that defender, and we want to read consistently the depth and then the hips of that defender. We're going to throw to open hands of receivers then, kind of like a basketball player on the post. How we do this, one thing we've got to tell quarterbacks is do not try to be perfect, especially when you're throwing downfield or across. Focus on throwing right at the chin so it stays within the framework and it's catchable at all times. You don't want to overthrow, especially deep passes during drills. That creates some really bad habits of trying to be perfect, and every receiver is a little different. So now we learn to adjust and try to just throw to the open hand or outside the framework, thus a fade type pattern on a vertical route. 3, then coach has to teach from the defensive side so you can see the eyes of the quarterback. Again, here's some great drills from Northwestern. Goes into a quarterback pocket slide drill with the coach coming, and then using our eyes to get better. Part 3 of fundamentals then is the mechanics and then the actual delivery when you throw. One of the teaching points up here at the top in the yellow box, we tell the quarterbacks to be somewhat robotic in their movements initially so that you over-exaggerate it and then that tightens up everything. Again, we want to be consistent with our ball mechanics for ball security. Start with a proper snap exchange all the time. We want to actually punch the snap, and that way we can meet the center when he's bringing it up if you're under center. The ball then for run game goes right to the belt, and then we extend the hand out when we have to place it in the pouch for handoffs. When we're passing, we want to go to what's called the ready position. That brings 2 hands on the ball right at the chest. And then to keep things simple with your throwing mechanics is we simply tell them bring the ball to the ear with both hands and then throw a dart. Now we've got really simple way to talk about mechanics, and it's fairly consistent and tightens things up. When we talk about passing trajectory, there's 2 ways we want to do this. We want to talk about throwing it on a line. There's an open window between you and the receiver, no defender, then let's keep it on a line. If there is a defender or potential for one, then we do what's called a 2, and that is just enough touch to get over top of the defender. We don't want to do any moon balls way up in the air and letting the receiver run under it anymore, because that just gives the defender time to get there. So everything's a 1 or a 2. How we do this? Daily shotgun drill where the quarterbacks, when they warm up, the quarterback waiting to receive the pass is actually getting into his shotgun position, and then the pass he catches is like he's receiving the shotgun. He gets into his pivot, is balanced, slow to fast, and then does that mechanics of ready position, ear, dart, and we're off. The other person then is now assumed the shotgun position. This is a great way to just warm up and focus on shotgun snaps. Second one then is to do the daily play strip where you're working with the backs, where you're working on those actual mesh and mechanics. And then we want to do daily partner drop work and throws so that we're doing all the footwork that we're needed to do in a game and making throws that we have to make in a ball game. Again, another great drill is what we call the mesh drill. This video is really good. It just shows the backs, running backs, and the quarterbacks working on a play strip, working on that mesh. And if you're doing run reads, then having a coach give those reads with it. Step 2 then, we want to get into, after technical, is get into tactical skills. And that is really the problem solving where you're going to make decisions now. And the research shows this is what we need to spend a significant time of, especially in the game of RPOs. Things we want to do is be able to read the play, acquire that knowledge for it, and then apply that decision making. The way to do that is to make sure you create, both for the coaches and for the players, as many practice opportunities. You need reps to work on those core tactical skills or decision making that you're going to ask them to do in a game. Again, you can go to our drill teaching section and I'll give you a bunch of those. The trial read progression we use here, the triangle offense, is real simple. You've got to see the defender, read that defender, and then you can go ahead off of his hips and his depth. Again, we want to understand the different principles and what ANA means. We'll go over that briefly. You have to understand who the key defenders are in each of the plays. And then number 3, you've got to read that defender's depth, okay, pre and post snap, and then his hips. That'll tell you if he is an athlete and able to change direction and make plays on you. How we do that is a daily reaction drills with a coach as a defender, so we can work drop, footwork, and eye focus. Second one then is to work daily pre and post snap drills, both versus coaches and as key defenders. And then 3, we want to work daily post snap pass, where we're bracketing actually that defender to see the open receiver in the open grass. Again, this is just a quick reminder. This is with all of the offense. We always want to look at where we have numbers advantages, and then we want to create blocking angles, and then we want to put speed and space in the field. With the trial read system, again, this goes through the pre and post snap process of the no huddle, but real simple. We want to go ahead and check out those numbers, do that recognition, then we can call the play based on where we have numbers advantage angles, blocking angles, and hopefully get speed and space. And then third, the quarterback has to focus and know who that key defender is and start the play. You can see here, we like to run RPOs, RROs against level 1, which are defensive linemen, level 2, which are usually linebackers, level 3 that are your secondary people. We use the same read progression, whether it's an RPO or a pass, player's depth and hips, as you'll see. When we talk about ANA, this is access, no access. We learned from Penn State, and really what we're looking in the spread is, first thing is we want to look at those hanging linebackers in this box, on the edge of the box, is do we have access to throw the football? That means the defender is not over the receiver, he is in the run box, then we would have access to throw. If the defender is outside of it like he is here, now we would say there is no access to throw, but we have good numbers in the box. That's ANA, access, no access. The ways we teach this is we start every day with this zone drill where we're working on our run, read, zone read, classic run, read there in the middle with the middle quarterback. Then the 2 outside quarterbacks are doing our pre-snap. This is a Penn State bubble where you're going to bubble with the slot and speed out with the backside X. You can work those throws, and then you're making your read decisions there every day. While that's going on, your offensive line can be working on inside hope or inside run game. These are just examples of it. You can see where we get the read and go through it. Again, defender's hips, he stays on line of scrimmage. His hips stay square, we give. With this one now, the defender's going to get upfield. That's our depth, which is a key, the defender stays on the line of scrimmage. That's a possible keep read. He turns his hips, so now he can't redirect, and we would actually keep this, as you'll see. You can see him turn, can't make the play. So that's your depth and hips principle. When we get into the passing game, we just call this our north drill because we're throwing the ball downfield north. And now we'll take our RPOs and just work on our passing concepts. You'll have two quarterbacks where you still have to make reads against a defender. Again, we can be working on now pass protection with their linemen. Again, the diagrams will go through how you can read the depth of the linebacker. Is he in the box, outside the box? And then are his hips in a position to fill for the run or play the pass? We say if he fills on an RPO, a backer, then we're going to drill the pass. If he sits, then the back will get it. Next, when we get to level 3 teaching, now, which is the secondary, we go into what we call a drill 25, where we've got the 2 quarterbacks going and 5 receivers. We like to always start with our 4 verts pass here. You can see how we give one quarterback all 3 inside out, the other one's locked in, but their eyes are all reading the same key defender that we would work on. Again, working on pass protection. With this, we talk about the goat being the backside safety. What we want to do here again is where we talk about depth and hips. If the ox, and then we go to the dog, which is the backside corner, if his depth is up, then we have a chance to break his cushion on the 4 verts. If his hips, where he's staying square, then he's beat also, because we're going to throw to the defender's backside. When we get into step 3, it gets to be quarterback communication and leadership skills. And this is a piece that you often overlook, but we need to focus on at quarterback play as much as anything. Communication skills are just the sending and receiving both of verbal and nonverbal messages to and from the coaches and the teammates. So we want to focus on not just our communication, but our listening skills and learning. We want to have a positive language, positive leadership, so that gets into body language as well. The QB position plays a huge role in determining the cohesiveness of a team. So the way they project themselves, communicate is pivotal. So a couple things for positive leadership. We want to learn and use all the verbal and nonverbal signals. The quarterback has to know what those are, just like a coach. We want them to be able to learn and listen, ask questions. They can challenge the process, but in a positive way. And then third, learn to communicate verbally and non-verbally in a positive manner to their teammates. How are we going to do that? Again, the coaches and the quarterback have to have the same language in your no-huddle verbiage, from drills to practice to games. Number 2, they need to listen and they need to learn and question like a coach. They need to see the big concept, what everybody's doing, just like a coach. And number 3, you've got to actually practice positive body language after negative situations regularly in practice. So again, when they throw a bad ball, they've got to have a body language or a verbal communication that they're not going to hang with that, move forward, and find a way to improve. Again, coaches must teach the QB how to lead positively. It's not just an inbred type of behavior. It's something they have to learn. Again, hopefully that just gives you some ideas, kind of a 3-step process to focus on quarterback play, along with how to simplify the reads both from an RPO and a pass game situation. Thanks.